G'day mates, this is Mauisnake here doing a pro play analysis video for AZR, the in-game leader for Renegades. AZR is 26 years old, and in the past 12 months he had a 1.03 rating. Not really the best player on his team or anything like that, but we're here to look at his performance against FaZe Clan, where he did very well for his team, had some very key rounds that helped them secure the victory today in the Legend stage of the Major. So, pistol round starts off pretty normal. It's just really setting up for a B exec here. You can kind of move quickly through this one. And there's a couple key rounds in this one, but I watched the VOD back already, kind of know which ones are good and not good. This one ends up dying, but notice this little spam at the corner there. A lot of jiggle peeks coming out from the FaZe player, so he's going to be spamming that out, making sure that no one is going to be peeking him. Going to be a CT smoke and a Molotov for Nubox. Nice to help him with the entry, but he's really just going to be eliminated. You can see the Molotov right there, but really he just runs in and dies, so nothing all too crazy about this one. This is where things get a little bit interesting, though. So, Renegades decide to actually go for a force buy in the second round. Kind of a curious idea, given that usually on T side, you can just get an AK in the third round, especially if you get a bomb plant in the first. They didn't actually get the bomb plant down, but they have just a few pistols. Just going to do kind of a light bracket control take with these nades, and just allow them to scale. So Jacob throws an arch smoke. AZR has utility as well. He's going to line up a smoke for kind of around the moto position. Flashes his team to help them get towards CT. Actually, it's the lurk smoke, not the moto smoke. So runs out with his team, just kind of trades out these kills. So gets a 2K on the round already. Just good gun work. Nothing really too crazy, honestly, about those kills. They're just mobbing those players. But this is a really great smoke out of him on the fly. He picked up another smoke, recognizes that, and smokes off that banana choke point. Knows that the FaZe players are over there already, as the Dren got a kill earlier in the round, and gets a little bit lucky there that Adren doesn't find him through the smoke, but we'll see just how Renegades decide to play this 3v2. It's going to be a tough situation for them. They both walk over towards construction. They want to clear out CT together, and because they're smoked off at CT, it allows them to actually make a really nice play, which sets AZR up. They actually boost him over right here, and he's able to find a kill onto Olaf, and he stays on the boost to find a kill onto Adren as well. He does get taken down by Rain, but at this point, time's already run out. Gratisfaction gets a pretty easy 1v1 here as he finds the frag of the Rain as well. So insult to injury as Renegades reset the FaZe economy. But a really good round overall from AZR. Nothing too crazy, but really a good call from him, as he is in fact the in-game leader. This one, did my research, didn't just assume that because he had a bad rate or anything of the sort. Flubs a Molotov right there, which is a little curious, but he throws a flash on top of it. And really, it's just meant to try to push back these CT players. The Molotov could have slowed them down as Rain and Adren went for an aggressive peek here towards Banana, but now AZR is just going to come back, throws, this time a moto smoke, and tries to flash his team out as they go up apartments. So AZR hears Guardian going towards alt mid, knows that he's trying to save his gun already, and he just hunts him, finds a shot right in the side of the head. So that's going to be it for this round. Just AZR exhibiting a little bit of presence towards that B side of the map, the banana area. Doesn't give FaZe Clan information for free, and even though he flubs a molly, FaZe think that there's some possibility, it seems like that there could be some kind of banana presence. So new round starts up, throws a sandbags molly this time, and a flash up. Just kind of on-the-fly nades. Nothing really too crazy about anything AZR's doing, but FaZe, they flash him off the angle, they try to push him back, and this is just FaZe looking for that control in the round. That's a really odd flash. I'm not actually the biggest fan of that flash that AZR throws. One, it blinds himself and probably most of his teammates if anyone were to scale, and two, it's not really a perfect pop flash either. It's not really low enough that people can't see it, but it doesn't really seem to matter too much in this round, honestly. He's just going to hold the bottom of Banana, wait for pushes. He gets one kill on a Guardian, but I think this is all he's able to find as Nico just jiggles him out, and he's able to take him down. So he loses his gun, but just gets a single kill on the round. Just kind of playing that side of the map. He plays it fairly often on defaults, I'd say, but not every time. He's kind of more of a... He sometimes acts as a floater, depending on I think the spawn of his teammates are really what the play is that they are going to go for. Like this round, for example, not really going for anything banana related. Instead, Liaz is going to be the guy that is over there. Let me say something also unrelated. AZR has a really nice kit. Like his guns and everything are really slick. He's got the Crimson Web gloves along with the Butterfly Slaughter. And then he's got the Empress AK with his golden sticker on it. I mean, it's really clean looking. Stat track, of course, too. But just going to be going for mid control. Pretty standard stuff from them. Just smoking off arch side, pushing back the phase players with utility. Nothing too, I'd say, unique, but now we're going to see actually a retake procedure for Banana from the Renegade side. This is something that is a little bit different, and a lot of teams have their own philosophies about how they should do this. Some molly up halfway. The way Renegades decide to do it is just molly off the logs position and then flash up and keep kind of Molotoving to push back these players. And so it sets them up to have quite a bit of banana control so that they could go for a B exec here. What's interesting, though, about this whole play is that they just throw their nades and just fall off of it. They don't make any noise. No one commits to the fight whatsoever. So it doesn't really do that much. And this play is rather unfortunate. AZR maybe could have seen the barrel of Rain there. I'm not sure if that's just a spectator thing or what, but he doesn't spot him, and Rain gets a 3K on the round. A very crucial one, as a matter of fact. So I'm a little surprised AZR doesn't see Rain's gun there, but maybe it's just dark enough. So, I mean, that's the point of using dark skins, I guess. If Rain actually had a brighter M4 skin, that could have gone completely differently. I think AZR might have actually seen it. So, pop through mid play for the Renegade side. Just a single flash through, and a scaling flash to help them take arch as well. So quite a few flashes being used as they try to push up. AZR, though, completely blind, is still able to move forward, and his teammates are able to trade off of him. Not the greatest performance from him individually, but nice scaling nades you could see from the Renegade side. So that's a kind of a nice little play from them. They just pop through the smoke, and then one guy just jumps in the smoke immediately, has a flash lined up to flash off our side immediately as well, so they can get it to CT. It almost worked out for them, but instead they are now pretty reset here. Just going to be on Glocks. Really not too much goes on in this round. I'm going to be going through this one pretty quickly. Just kind of jiggles out the corners. Renegades, they really take their time with this. They try to bait the utility from phase, and they do a decent job at it. They run down the clock phase. They smoke off a lot of angles. They use their Molotovs. So that's kind of in a way economic damage. If you just rush with 5 Glocks somewhere and they don't have to really use any nades, there's not as much to buy up. It just keeps the economy of phase a little more modest. But really, it's fairly insignificant. It's obviously much more important if you get a single kill than just baiting utility from everyone. I think maybe if everyone used every single nade, and it might be more value than a single kill, but for the most part, it's not. So AZR here throwing scaling flashes to help his team out. It's kind of high behind them and to the left, so that if anyone is peeking up, as I think Adren and Nico did, Liaz is going to have an advantage there. So Liaz was able to scale forward with that. Bad smoke towards CT, so AZR decides to refresh it, and they're going to have the full B-bomb site, and pretty much the round is over at that point. So AZR just kind of playing a supporting role on T side. This is very common for in-game leaders, and he just exits off the bomb site. Really, I'd say that he really steps up on the CT side of this game, but he does have definitely an MVP performance on that side, and combining with his his kind of force buy play in the second round of this entire game, I think it's clear that he was the most impactful player for his team in this game. I think a few other players do a pretty good job on some rounds, but not the usual stars. JKS has a pretty good game as well, but now we can see that Renegades, they don't exert any banana pressure. It's a little curious to me, but instead they just go for kind of a full A exec, but they try to come out mid. Good counter utility from Guardian, though. I think Moses and Vince remarked upon that during this game live, that really this is supposed to be a two-pronged attack for the Renegade side. They're supposed to be coming up porch side and the apartments, but now we can see that really they have the whole pit control, but they don't actually have anything else. So AZR tries to move out a little bit later. The counter utility just slows this whole thing down, and he turns away at the worst time possible as Wayne pushes him, and the rest of FaZe are able to clean this one up pretty easily. So just kind of going for a deco here. and just looking for a pick. We can see, we'll watch the route that he takes to try to find this pick. Goes for the jump spot towards mid. Nice little jiggle peek. Good movement from AZR, I must say. He makes that jump look really easy, but it's pretty hard to get that down really nicely. It's like kind of a nice airstrafe and kind of a circular, like quarter circle motion with your mouse at the same time. So, again, just kind of playing it slow. Renegades seem to like to bait these nades on these kind of rounds, and it's not the worst idea. Just kind of running headfirst into anything against a team as skilled as FaZe is not really a winning play, and that smoke almost gives AZR a one-way, but he seems to have actually some difficulty looking around smoke grenades, something kind of noticed about this team. And Renegades, they actually have a pretty good round. They scale up pretty nicely, they get the bomb down, and it was brought down to a 1v2, so they got 3 kills with just a single flashbang, I think, and like just a couple upgraded pistols. So AZR, though, going to be playing the supporting role once again. We're going to see the flash fly over here. It's just holding it, and we'll see how... Actually, I think they're just going to be able to take it. I think Liaz, so throws a flash up, and Liaz is able to push with that one. Notice how Liaz wouldn't get blind, as that flash would fly well over his head. It kind of lands over here. If Liaz is looking the right direction, he shouldn't get blind at all, but anyone that would contest him on the corner would get flashed. So just kind of a nice set play between the Renegades players, but this is a pretty big misstep from their team, as no one's playing anti-flash. Very simple flash play comes out from FaZe Clan, and it just does them in right there. Dren gets 3 kills. That's just way more than you'd ever expect in that kind of play. Usually, that maybe will get you 1 or 2. Maybe you usually kind of get 1, and then the guy that's playing anti-flash just turns around and kills you. But not a single person on Renegades was ready for that. And that's really just kind of not okay at this level of play. And that's just one of the most simple kind of like retake flashes for the CTs on this entire map. So regardless, Renegade's going to be on a kind of a half buy here. A few players have armor. AZR thinking about what smoke he wants to throw to help his team out here. But it looks like they're just going to scale up mid to start things off. So he still has a smoke and a flashbang, and they're going to use these flashes for both sides. I think one of the flashes was kind of a mistake, and now he's going to be throwing the lurk smoke. Don't want to use alt because sometimes it glitches out, but he's going to throw some nice support flashes and pushes out. He's able to get a single kill, but does throw that lurk smoke. Does good economic damage here, but in a pretty bad situation, and Olaf's going to nade him, and that's that for the round. So kind of, again, a nice like little scaling play for the Renegade side, but they're just kind of working A, it seems like, on these half buys more than B. There's like nice little flashes you can throw over the roofs to get in, and it doesn't seem like they feel too confident about doing an eco play against the FaZe players at B. Really, at this level of play, you just got to try things a little bit different. The porch side play was a little bit more effective, so maybe they'll take that with them into the future. But for now, AZR going for, again, a kind of a puggy take of Banana. He's just doing it by himself. Molly's up the car, flashes to the corner, gets a nice flash to help him out from his teammates, but really nothing too teamwork oriented there. A lot of teams are going to put a lot more structure into their Banana takes. Renegades, on the other hand, it doesn't really... sometimes they go really hard with supporting flashes and everything. Sometimes it's really just a lot more... it's a lot more chill, it seems like. It's just like they just single dude just clears it up. And AZR, he really wants that Molotov. You can see he wants it, he wants to jiggle it, but knows it's just not safe. And he thinks better of doing that. And on the other side of the map, Gratisfaction gets a pick. It's just going to be Rain on the bomb side by himself. AZR decides to just throw a good support smoke for Moto. Allows them to have a much cleaner porch take. And Renegades, they really take a long time with this one. They don't know where one player is. Olaf has kind of been the rotator for this team, but they should have known that there were players towards B. And AZR, though, he's going to push through this arch smoke. Helps them secure the round as he gets the kill onto Olaf Meister, and now he's right behind Nico. He knows exactly where he is as well, and he's able to get that gun out of his hands with a nice shot. So another pause comes out from FaZe. And just a car Molotov to start things out on their take, but AZR actually throws a little bit of counter utility here to try to stop any kind of complete banana control from being taken, and I really like that adjustment. Sometimes he can't see anything that's going on. He doesn't know for sure if players are even there, but just goes for the simplest of nades to try to push back the phase players, and he knows exactly how they're going to react to it. This is probably one of the cooler rounds from AZR, even though I don't know how much it amounts to in terms of his kills, but just his utility usage here is pretty much flawless, and as a matter of fact. He runs through the smoke and gets Nico down to 18 HP, and what this did in this round is it kept 2 players on that B bomb site. We can see Adren and Nico are still both there. If Nico didn't get taken down low, if AZR didn't throw those counter nades, there might be 4 phase players on this A bomb site right now, but because AZR did that, it actually does get a lot of control for his team, and now they can play A little bit safer. AZR wants to make a little bit of he was thinking about an aggressive play towards that arch smoke, but decides against it, just waits for it to dissipate like a normal person should. But now they know exactly where Rain is. He's trying to go for the entry, and the push comes out. Actually, I remember this round, they take a little too long, and they can't manage to go for the whole split. I think they wanted to go for a pick in CT, but they don't find it. And despite a very well-played round, just a little too slow to try to get in this one. The bomber dies, and AZR on this push dies as well. The Porsche players were a little bit late to come up, but it's just a little too slow. Liaz cannot get the bomb and plant it, but I still think AZR did a great job that round, as he was able to make that just 3 players on the A side. If they just did it a little bit faster, scaled a little more normally, and didn't go for this kind of, do we want to go CT, do we not want to go CT, it seemed like that confused them more than it even confused the phase CT side. So that was a slightly poor call, but other than that, a pretty well-run round, I'd say. So now another kind of puggy start. AZR just kind of moving up here. Not too much utility being used, not too much teamwork. He's kind of just fighting by himself, looking for a one-tap. And I kind of respect the guts on AZR to go for these kind of plays. You're an IGL. You're situated in a pretty aggressive spot. You might be posted on by an op. You don't really know. And he's just trying to make something happen. Now he holds the lurk, kind of like the one spot that FaZe is not going to account for, and he's able to get a nice opening kill of the round off of it. That spot is just so dangerous. A lot of CTs like to re-aggress with the pop flash like we saw earlier over the roof, or just simply going for a walk push, but meeting the CTs there is just really difficult for them, as they're not usually holding that angle. And the play that Adren tried to make was pretty ballsy, but it just doesn't work out because AZR's here. So now AZR's still just holding on to this position. He knows that his team is pushing in, trying to pinch that B bomb site, and they are able to do so. They get Nico down, and it's just left up to Olaf, who is caught in a perfect crossfire. This is really exactly what you'd hope from 2 teammates. You have a guy at coffins beneath where the camera is, and a guy at new box. That's just perfect Counter-Strike being played by the Renegades players to close things out. Nice fundamentals, I'd say, from them for most of this game. They did not really make too many egregious mistakes. I'd say they made a bad call on one of the rounds, but honestly, they didn't make any just horrible plays, errors in post plants, anything like that. They traded well. They had good teamwork positioning and all that. But yeah, T side first half. AZR kind of like a third guy in a lot of the time, second guy in. You can tell that every now and then he is kind of deliberating about what the call should be for his team. So that kind of has these momentary pauses for him in the round, as it happens to pretty much all IGLs. And this was a very interesting CT play to start things out. I really like this. Good call from AZR. Just kind of get in the face of the FaZe players. They're not really going to expect you to likely get this aggressive, this crazily. Nico falls because of it. AZR still holds top mid, and they're in a nice crossfire setup towards top of mid. AZR takes down Rain. They're still in a man advantage situation, but he kind of oversteps his boundaries there. Doesn't need to get that crazy. Doesn't need to really just do that. He committed really hard to that fight at steps when it's a really difficult one at that. But we'll see still some second round magic from Renegades. FaZe Clan kind of had a bad run with not playing these rounds all too well, I would say. But still, good play from Renegades to start things off in this round, actually. So AZR throws some supporting flashes for Jacob, who's able to go around the corner. And you can see that this lineup is pretty simple, nothing too fancy. Just kind of crouch here, aim at the blue sky over there. It's really not like a precise lineup at that. It doesn't need to be, as that will just basically catch anyone towards that position. It set Jacob up for 2 kills. AZR already getting quite a few flash assists in this game. I think he ends the game with 7 flash assists, which is incredible stuff, given that he was also the top fragger for his team. Great game supporting, great game fragging. I mean, you love to see it when your IGL is putting off stuff like this. It's really... A performance like this is kind of what put MSL kind of on the map, and for Epicenter, really North or Dignitas back then didn't have all too much going for them, but the fact is that they had some good players, and MSL had the tournament of his life, which helped out his case as a good IGL. But good double molly setup play comes out from FaZe. It flushes AZR out eventually, and that's kind of how you should be running your anti-ecos, but they don't really get enough control with those. And Renegades, they end up hitting all the shots they need to, taking it down. But just to keep remarking on that fact, pretty much one tournament where your IGL goes crazy as a fragger is sometimes enough to just win it. Because usually, for most teams, it's really not generally the case. And this round, though, AZR throws just one supporting flash. He really likes to help out his B players, but now he rotates back to his more normal spot at A. Now we're going to see him play a little bit more standard, and this is really how most kind of rifle arch players should play, just kind of jiggling around the corner, making sure this bracket doesn't get overwhelmed for free without them getting any information, and then he just rotates back into the bomb site. Now they play a 3-man crossfire on the bomb site because they have such a huge man advantage. And they know Nico's down mid, so they actually get a little bit antsy and decide to hunt him just a little bit. Which AZR had an opportunity there, but can't find the kill just yet. And Jacob actually steals it from him. So now this is going to be an anti-eco setup for Renegades. They should know that the money situation for FaZe is not good, and it allows the Renegades players to get a little bit gutsy with their nade usage. They throw a deep nade down mid. AZR throws the one into alt mid, and it chips down these FaZe players so heavily. Rain's already down to 1 HP. I doubt he's even seen a player this round. So when playing against anti-ecos like that, I'd say it's in a lot of players' best interest to buy a hand grenade instead of double flashbang. Double flashbang is really good on gun rounds. It helps you reaggress. It's actually even good on kind of force buy rounds. But against players that have no armor, like Renegades no FaZe are right now, having just nade damage is incredibly impactful. It makes shots like that all the more possible. AZR walls Rain there, who had a single point of HP. It just makes things a lot easier as they're pushing up. So many assists in this round. Gratisfaction got an assist. JKS got an assist. Gratisfaction got another assist. Really, so much nade damage to soften those players up. Makes your job as a CT a lot easier. So now he's going to be throwing these supporting flashes again. Let's just where it lands. Kind of on top there. Really good flash, given that Jacob pushes down. Jacob, he doesn't even have to turn from it. It's landing on the roof. Really standard Counter-Strike for taking banana control, being exerted from the Renegade side. That kind of systematic play and sequential play with utility usage is really good on Inferno in particular. It's very important to take banana control. The team that usually controls banana control has a great chance to win the entire game. That's why incredible oppers can shut it down, can be such a huge factor on this map. That's why just good tactical teams will also frequently win this map. It's simple. It's not too hard. Just got to layer your utility right, and then you can have a setup like this. We can see now that JKS is just going to be playing here by himself. AZR is going to be playing around the arch position, but Jacob's here to help him out as well. So it's really not all too scary to be holding this A bomb site when you have 4 players here. AZR tries to help out. He doesn't actually get a kill, but because he helped set up his team earlier in the round, it allows his team to play a 2v1 and take Nico down. Very close 1v1 actually at the end of that all, but nonetheless, if Renegades didn't have 4 players there, probably wouldn't have had that good of a site hold as they did. FaZe Clan just went for a pretty standard or their own version of an A exec. I wouldn't say it's actually that standard. But once again, going to be going back to AZR as he helps out at the start towards Banana. Decides instead this time to be using some of that utility. Instead, not to flash for his teammates, but to just throw that first smoke grenade down and HE grenade. Another great way to just get Banana control. Have the player that's going to already rotate back to A use some of their utilities so that in doing so, it can allow the players that are normally playing B to just, kind of have a simple side hold. Or still have their utility for the hold. So now AZR doesn't really know exactly how to play around this lurk smoke. Decides to move into library. And this is always such a tricky smoke to play around if you're the Arch player. It really helps if you can get those 4 players towards this bomb site. But he spots the gun of Nico, but he can't find the kill, and that really hurts his team's chances. Although Liaz, I think, has a pretty nice round, and I think they're still able to clean it up. Yeah, they do. So that lurk smoke is just very difficult to play around. You could try to play it like AZR did in that round, where you kind of just focus more on the actual A hit and try to play more around the smoke. But it's not this. I wouldn't say that there's actually usually a totally correct answer for how to play around it. If they throw it, but then all of them go through porch and apartments, you're just and you're playing around CT, you're not really helping your team. If you play around Moto, but then they go to CT, and then your B players are in a bad position, it really just helps if you get that 4th player, and that smoke is really why a lot of teams like to get players there. So now AZR's going to be playing around library. Jacob's there to help him out. He gets 2 kills, or Jacob does, but AZR does fall. Just kind of a good angle there. If he knew earlier that the Ts were going to be coming out through CT spawn, a very strong angle is right here. This is a great off angle as Ts try to run out. They usually clear the left, and usually can get spotted through this crack right here. And then when they're out here, very rarely is a T going to hard clear this angle right here. So if AZR had a little bit more time, I'd expect them to move into a position such as that. Instead, gets caught off in kind of a very standard angle. Very easy for players to shoot him. So throws a flashbang to help his team out once again. Throws a nice deep smoke to help his team out, which actually lands at the bottom there. That might be worth rewatching if you want to be a good support player to help your players out towards Banana, because that's a really good smoke. Don't have to peek out, don't have to get too far, and they tried to set up that solo player JKS towards the Banana bomb site, or the B site, but he does fall after getting a single kill. Now what AZR does here is a little bit different than standard Counter-Strike, I'd say. He rotates over, and because there's no action already, there's no information, he knows here that FaZe Clan, this is going to be one of the rare times I pause. So I don't usually pause these demo reviews, but this is something I need to explain actually. Pretty important. Usually in situations like this, the burden is on the group of CTs that are actually in a nicer, like, 2-man situation here. Gratisfaction and Liaz, usually the burden's on them to try to make a play, but because AZR rotates over, and the kind of general rule of thumb for Counter-Strike is kind of like 1 in fake, 2 in take, he's kind of playing off of that and thinks that FaZe is not really going to commit to this. It's why he's going for the peak here. Also, Gratisfaction and Liaz, they're not really in a good situation right now to try to just make a push. So AZR throws a nade down, is able to find the kill onto Nico, and he actually does more damage to Guardian here as well. He's playing a really nice off angle to try to stop anyone from coming up. FaZe, they do end up going to this B bomb site, but AZR plays this really well, I'd say, to try to give his team a chance into this round. Nice off angle. Guardian tries to peek the corner, but is unable to see AZR, and AZR can see him. It's just knowing your angles correctly there. But now AZR's going to be playing new box position. The smokes come out. He still has a Molotov. I'm a little confused as to why he doesn't just use this already. But he doesn't. And now he gets mollied out of his position, and he just gets completely blind and dies. So could have possibly pulled out the Molotov at one point, but I think he wanted to wait for his teammates to rotate over and probably throw some supporting flashes for him. Doesn't happen the way he envisioned it, though, and he's caught just out in the open. So nade down middle early on, and that's an even stronger nade. We haven't seen AZR throw that all too often this half, but because they haven't really conditioned FaZe to think that they're going to nade down mid as a lot of teams do, there's a good chance that nade is actually going to connect and do some significant damage. It doesn't, but that's just how the game is sometimes. Not always going to be hitting perfect nades just because you kind of set a situation up to possibly hit them. Just sometimes players don't move in the positions you expect. So now he's going to be doing kind of the standard arch setup. He's just jiggling the corner here. FaZe, they throw some smokes to try to get some control here. One of AZR's teammates threw a counter Molotov to stem any kind of push. And instead of actually going to standard setup, kind of like one moto and 2 bomb site or 1 pit, 1 site, they do a little bit of a bait and switch here. And it's the first time they've run that this half. AZR is playing in the cubby, Gratisfaction is playing the corner, and it allows AZR to get a really free kill on Nico there as he tries to push forward and get that opper. And because he saved his Molotov and they saved some of their utility, they're able to now secure this bomb. That was a very poor play from Nico, I'd say. Nico tried to get just anything for his team in this round, and AZR just spams the smoke with perfect timing, finds the kill onto Guardian. A nice lineup, flushing himself with the wall right here, makes it a very straight shot, and knowing exactly where the bomb is obviously helps as well. Because of this FaZe, they just decide they have to save. There is really nothing that they can do. There's no way they're going to get the bomb away from the Renegade side. It's going to be one of those rounds where the FaZe players are probably like, come on, man, Nico, like, we know you're sick, but that's just a little too ambitious to try to just get 1 kill at risk of losing the bomb. It's kind of a medium reward, extremely high risk play from Nico there. And those aren't really the plays you want to make if you want to consistently be a winning team. Not that I think FaZe are going to have a hard time getting out of the group stage here, but nonetheless, that's just a little too risky. It's kind of a BO1 Counter-Strike kind of play where it's like, boom, you get that kill, maybe it's the round you reset Renegades, maybe it's the round that helps you take it, and but can't be consistently making those plays or you're going to obviously lose in the long run. Really, it's actually probably a fine play if he just doesn't have the bomb. Simple as that. So now they're going to be going for a more standard setup at A, because they got banana control early in the round. AZR is going to be playing this moto position. His teammate is here to support him. We can see Jacob's position right here. AZR just counter smoking the arch side. Now, he could probably just help out more towards the actual bomb site, but instead tries to get a little bit of nade damage, and it's worth it. Adren gets down to 91 HP. That's enough for an AUG to now one-shot headshot kill. So what used to be bad nade damage on this map is actually, or kind of like insignificant feeling, is actually kind of significant because of the meta change that the AUG is so just strong in. 9 damage, that's enough to make a headshot, a one-shot kill for this gun. So now he moves into the bomb site as expected earlier, and he is able to just play this close kind of box position. I hear it called Cold Zero box a lot. And the time's running out, so he just goes for an aggressive peek, wants to get the guns out of the hands of the FaZe Clan players, and he does just that. Good positioning, good movement, pretty decent utility in that round. AZR just does a very solid job securing his side of the map. So this is a really big round from AZR. It's probably his second most impactful round. I'd say the most impactful round was his second round of the entire match. But this round, he just cleans house. I'd say the reason it's not his most is because probably someone else would have gotten these kills. He's against a full eco. They have a single op saved on Guardian, FaZe Clan that is. So maybe anyone could have come up big in this round, but AZR does a great job playing his position here and making a nice kind of mid-round positioning call for himself. Kind of the standard setup we've seen at A a few times, Gratisfaction playing around the default box, or now moving back, and they're going to swap positions. AZR's going to move up. Just begins to hear players towards bracket. Here's the scope from Guardian. Knows that they're likely going to be coming in at this point. And he's just going to be playing the same box. Really strong spot, of course. Very hard to clear. There's a nice supporting flash to help out his teammate. And because FaZe now have arch control, AZR finds it necessary to retake porch control. Very strong play. He's able to take down Olaf, who's here by himself. Knows that FaZe Clan expended quite a few bodies to try to get control of that arch position, and he's just going to keep holding porch. He knows that there was a player apt. He's able to take down Adren as well, and now he knows that the entire hit's going to be coming from this position. Gets a nice lineup there on Guardian. Nico doesn't quite find the kill on Rain at the beginning, but because Rain has nothing but a Glock, AZR's able to clean it up with a very nice ace. Very nice ace. So, a couple rounds of difficulty are coming up for Renegades. I hope I'm not spoiling anything for you guys, and I hope this isn't your first time watching or knowing the result of this game, because they're going to lose a few here. Early utility comes out. AZR just trying to help out. He kind of changes up his utility a lot of the time. This time it was nade Molotov. Sometimes it's just nade smoke or flashbang smoke. He really doesn't give FaZe a steady diet of the nades he's going to be throwing at them on that banana position. So kind of a weird exec comes out, kind of a half sight kind of cropping done from Renegades. It's a from FaZe, very confusing position to be in if you are these Renegades players, as you don't know which way to look, you don't know which way to aggress, you don't know where the hit's going to come from, and AZR doesn't know just that. He plays the skadoodle box in the back of sight, and it doesn't work out for him whatsoever. He just gets annihilated. So now they're going to change up the play a little bit. AZR's going to start on the porch side. I'm not sure why Renegades decided to start switching up who's going where at the beginning of rounds. Seems like they were pretty comfortable with AZR just kind of playing banana to start the rounds off, but instead they send they send Gratisfaction here to try to set up with his op, as opposed to JKS, who's usually the solo B player, but it kind of doesn't work out for them. Gratisfaction peeks out into Guardian's op, and that's just not really a higher... That's not going to be a winning play most of the time. When you're the solo player at B opping, definitely don't want to give up your life for free. You're usually just going to hold that angle, hope that they peek into you one by one, and there's a lot of great angles to play as an opper there. There's no reason to be peeking into them. I remember that, though. I think there was kind of a bad flash that went over, so Gratisfaction thought he could peek with it. Doesn't work out, though. So AZR plays underneath the porch here. Just going to be waiting. And takes his time with this one, and kind of a poor burst from him on Rain. If he could have hit that earlier, he might have been able to find 2 kills there, but just a little too quick on the trigger. Doesn't quite perfectly line up his shot, and it costs him, and it costs his team. They lose that round. Now they're going back to what they're used to doing. Throws the flash for his team to help him out, and throws the deep smoke. Jacob, though, gets picked early in the round, and now AZR decides they're going to still leave JKS there by himself, and they're just going to play 3A regardless of the situation. Continues to jiggle the corner. Smoke comes out. This alerts AZR that they are likely going for mid-control, and he throws a very meaty nade. Does good damage onto Rain and Guardian. That's a really great response from him. Does 35 damage to Rain, 30 to Guardian. I don't know how much it did to Nico, but probably around 30. Basically a 100 damage nade almost. So that's a really good thing to know if you're an Arch player or a Porch player. If you're ever smoked off, as people do smoke off Porch sometimes as well, oftentimes in your best interest to throw a little bit of counter utility, if you have the hand grenade still or whatever it is, to throw something towards the bracket position, especially the opening of mid. That's really your biggest chance to hit a big old grenade like AZR did in that round, or in this round. Throws a little bit of counter utility towards Arch side, and his teammate on the bomb site, JKS, falls. This I found really unfortunate. He was spraying that so well, but doesn't find the kill on a Nico. Nico had 7 health. Might have made a retake possible here, but instead Renegades just go for the full save. They're going to move into some site positions, and this is kind of a mistake on Liaz, I'd say. He peeks towards Porch, peeks towards Apartments, and you really want to keep Gratisfaction's op alive in this kind of round, and he doesn't really do just that. He just kind of hangs out, watches Apartments, thinks that there's going to be a hit from there, and Liaz doesn't really find that. I know this is an AZR pro player analysis, but I really thought I should point that out because when I saw that earlier live, I just didn't like how Liaz was kind of caring more about his own life than his opera's life. You got to worry about your opera's life. The amount of damage your opera can do into the upcoming round is so important in a round to close out the game like this. But spoiler alert, it still works out for Renegades at the end. That's why we're doing this pro player analysis. I don't really do them very often if the player loses. So that's why we're here. Also, if you guys are interested in seeing the players you want analyzed, be sure to follow me on Twitter, because sometimes, actually, throughout this major, I'm going to run some more frequent polls of like top performances I saw for the day, and then I'll just decide to do one as a pro player analysis. If you want to vote in those polls, after all the games for the day are done, be sure to follow me. Maybe even get notifications on my posts or something like that, because I run pretty short polls, like 5-10 minutes. And if you see it, maybe you can vote in on who you want, because I'll just pick 3, maybe 2 to 4 players, and whichever one gets the most votes, I'm going to do it. It's as simple as that. That's how I picked AZR today. I was considering between Mauisnake and Forest. And if you want your voice heard, just follow me and vote in those polls. So now AZR doesn't quite know where the hit's coming from. He doesn't want to make the same mistake around the lurk smoke he did the previous time, so he goes towards CT this time. And but a moto smoke hurts his chances of getting involved in this round. He still is able to play around the bomb site, but he can't really get all too involved. Guardian just hits a great shot on him. And we're going to watch this from JCOM and JKS's perspective. We're going to see JKS's perspective, actually, as he tries to make his way in. Actually, we'll watch JCOM, because remember live it showed JCOM's or JKS's. So JCOM just kind of holds the pit angle. Guardian goes for an aggressive peek, tries to get involved, and that's going to be very costly for his team, because JCOM and JKS pull this one out against Olaf and Adren. Olaf just too low HP. It's very difficult for him to get involved in this one. JCOM now swings around the corner, gets the kill on to Adren. Now just Olaf, and JCOM takes him out. So that's going to be it for the pro player analysis here for AZR. Let's look at the stats to close things out here. Let's get the scoreboard. Just going to pause it up. 22 enemies flashed, 209 utility damage, 86 ADR. Stunning performance from AZR. Great stuff, 1.35 KD. Really showed good utility usage. A lot of good procedures from Renegades here. I picked them to go through on my pick'ems. They showed throughout the qualifier just really good preparation for this. I know that Thorin shouted out their coach, who was the coach previously of Mouseports. I don't want to butcher his name because I don't exactly remember how it's spelled, but yeah, it seems like Renegades really came into this major prepared. They have a lot of little setups, tricks, I mean, whatever you want to call it, just sequences, and they're very comfortable playing around that. They beat a team like FaZe. AZR, great performance from him. Hope to see you guys next time on my next pro player analysis. Remember to follow me on Twitter and Twitch as well, and of course subscribe so that you instantly see when my new YouTube videos pop up. And as always, being toxic is a choice.